Look at Nigeria, one of the world's, Africa's biggest digital tech hubs, and has an average, or I read somewhere, an average of 4,600 blackouts in a year. Welcome. So today we're going to be looking at the question, why is AI revolution leaving Africa behind? This was inspired from an article that was done from the Economist, and he was trying to list some of the issues as to why Africa is being left behind in terms of AI. Is there like some racism or institutional racism behind it? So today we're going to look at that question. I'm going to put the article here so that I can check it out as well. You can see some of the experts of where I'm going to be removing some of my notes. So to be able to categorically answer this question, we need to look at three main issues. Number one, we need to look at the facts and figures as they are, right? Let's look at the facts and figures as they are in terms of AI. Number two, we're going to look at, are professionals and businesses trying to assimilate the technology into their businesses, into infrastructure? Are we trying to do that? And three, we're going to look at what are the infrastructure necessary for us to be able to be part of this revolutionary AI goodies bag in Africa. So those three main questions is what we're going to be able to answer. The first question is, why is Africa being left behind in terms of AI revolution? I know the thumbnail is a bit what's the word? Try to grab people's attention. Is there racism? This, but we gotta try to look at those. Is there an issue of race? Why is it that Africa is still also being left behind? We're gonna look at all those issues. And my name is Gideon. We talk about anything and everything AI currently. We used to do a bit of real estate a while ago, but we're in a place where we have a mission as a company to be able to bridge that gap in terms of AI education, because we feel like Africa, as actually the topic suggests, we think that Africa is being left behind. And myself, I have a background in marketing, but since the last 2 years, AI has really revolutionized a lot of things. And as I've been getting to start to see what it can do, I've come to the conclusion that we also need to be, I want to be part of the people who do education in terms of AI. I want people to see what are the actual um, capabilities of AI and how it can revolutionize businesses across Africa. It can revolutionize um, every aspect. I believe this, if you were to look at in terms of technology, this is like where the dot-com era was. I mean, that's when everything really started in terms of AI or in terms of internet. And we need to be part of that. We don't want to be in Africa where you are saying, we don't know what is this technology we are hearing people talking about. So before I get to the questions, let me paint you a story, short story of where I was during the weekend. So I usually in our church we do these entrepreneurial seminars, and you actually be surprised that we had some of the big wigs in certain sectors of the economy. So in here, these are entrepreneurs, some of them are big, medium, small businesses. So quite a large number of people. The reason I bring this story up is when everyone is being told to introduce myself. So I introduce myself, saying my name is Gideon. I'm in the content creation background in real estate, but pivoting towards AI. And everyone was like, whoa, whoa. So what is that? Wow. So it has come to dawn on me, if in that room we had some of the big shots in different and entrepreneurs in different sectors, and they were wowed because I just said I'm pivoting towards AI, and everyone is looking at you like, wow. That tells me something, that it definitely tells you in terms of AI in Africa, even sectors where people who are top of their sector who should be knowing about real estate do not know about it, or do not see the capabilities, are not aware of what do they need to be learning right now to prepare for the revolution that is coming in. And by and large, that is why this channel is gonna be pivoting a bit, because I think there is where we can make the biggest impact possible. So let's go back to the three questions or criteria. So, number one, what are the facts and figures? I'm going to be looking at the figures, I'm going to be putting them somewhere here, but these are the numbers as they are. So, the AI industry or economy is projected to be a 16 trillion. I did not say billion, guys. Trillion dollars, not shillings, dollars by 2030. It is estimated by that time, Africa share of that global um, Africa's part of that 16 billion is going to be 2.5% of that share. I'm going to be doing the math, I'm going to be putting that. What even was, only $400 million of that is going to be added to our GDPs in terms of what AI can bring. So my numbers might be off, but what the story tells, what the numbers tell you is Africa, for being part of the 17 Africans, as Africans, you are 17% of this continent. You're going to be the last people to actually, not even the last people, you are not going to be part of that AI world, judging by the numbers. You know, they usually say, I might be wrong, but Africa, I think, does like 1% of the whole world trade, which echoes almost the same as the numbers we are seeing in terms of AI. Let me give you other numbers as well. Africa is projected to have the biggest young population in the next 10, maybe 10, 20 years or in the future. But the reason why that is very discouraging is that in terms of AI, you're gonna be the last people. And why is that? So that was some of the numbers. I'm gonna put other numbers of that issue, which bring us to the which will bring us to the second question: is why are professionals actually not being able to utilize this? I mean, I was just telling you a story where I was in a seminar, and when you say AI, people look at you like you're a scientist, I mean, and I was personally, I'm not even the world's biggest AI nerd. I've just been keeping abreast, just trying a few things in there, probably better than the average person. But that the fact that industry leaders or professionals in the African setting cannot be able even to see at the possibilities is quite worrying. So why is that? I don't know. I've been trying to understand why is it that professionals don't seem to be taking interest in AI. One of the things AI does very well is improve efficiency. You would think that is the first thing entrepreneurs would be looking for, it for solutions on how to improve. There's usually the saying, in the coming years, AI will take people's job. And a lot of people are saying that, but they are not actually sitting down and looking at it. What does that actually really mean in terms of me as an entrepreneur, in terms of me with my employees? What does that mean? Personally, I think it's not that AI will take jobs. It's a fact that people who don't know how to use AI will be out of a job. And for that, I am 100% sure. You need to be aware, even if you're not using AI currently as a professional, you need to learn how you to use it. Because in the next 20 years, it's like you'll be like someone who does not know any computer basics going to ask for a job or doing anything. As for entrepreneurs, you need to find out, what is AI actually doing for guys? What are some of the inefficiencies that I can use in my business? If you can find ways, and I'm just being honest, to reduce your revenue, whether that means in terms of people you've hired or inefficiencies or whatever it is, if you can be able to even reduce it by 5%, what does that look like? What does that mean for your company? What are the things that you need to be learning right now that you're going to be using probably 2 to 3 to 4 years from now? So that is why we are saying that we need to answer these questions, because as professionals in Africa, we are not aggressively educating ourselves to find out how AI can help us. The number three reasons is the infrastructure. So when I say infrastructure, you're going to be looking at two main things in Africa. I know there's a bit of noise, motorbikes in Africa, so I'm going to let that pass for a few minutes, just a few seconds. Motorbikes, I know, my goodness. We need them, but sometimes I really hate them. Anyone in Kenya knows how that means. Do the guys. So anyway, what are the other infrastructural issues that we're going to be finding ourselves in terms of Africa, and why are we being left behind? There are two actually main issues. Number one is data centers. So this is what it means. For us to be able to have processing capacity of AI that is the rest of the world is actually building on, it turns out the servers use 14% more electricity than your normal server. Why is that an issue? Think about it. Africa has, if the worst electricity connection compounded with the worst blackouts that you ever seen. So it means you might have the data centers, but because there's power interruptions, you cannot be able to sustain it. Look at Nigeria, one of the world's, Africa's biggest digital tech hubs, and has an average, or I read somewhere, an average of 4,600 blackouts in a year. Just think of that, 4,600. In Kenya, probably black power blackout is not the biggest issue, but it's still there. It's still there, probably once in a month or something of that sort. Or even that, the fact that AI is using 14% more, it means that you need reliable electricity. People may not be aware of this, but ChatGPT, which is one of the companies that pioneered AI technology, is actually going at a loss because they need so much processing power and data centers to be able to process the capacity for AI to have its core function. So you need a lot of power. Secondly, which is an issue, the second issue we're going to be talking about why Africa is being left behind is internet. Whereas in Africa, you might think it is interconnected, it's not as much. The power of the internet speeds are lower, probably as compared to the rest of the world. And the second issue, Africa, people always say Africa leapfrogged in terms of technology, which is true because the mobile phones really revolutionized that we have bundles. If people know what bundles mean, it's bundles that you can use on your mobile phone. However, we actually jumped interconnectivity issues. This is what I mean. And again, I'm going to use Nigeria. Nigeria has, I think Facebook actually did the wiring of fiber optics to Nigeria. So the issue is not the fiber coming to Africa. So that's why this is not a racist issue, if that answers the question. Africa doesn't have a racist issue in terms of AI. It's an infrastructure issue. That's the biggest one. It's the fact that even if you have these fiber cables, which are all coming to Africa, the interconnectivity is very poor. This is what I mean. For us to be able to process such kind of information using AI, which is locally built here, which is what is needed, we need fast, reliable internet, right? So the issue when the fiber cables comes here, the interconnectivity, because you need actual fiber optics or any other types of fiber uh, connected to offices, homes, businesses, whatever it is. But that's not the case in Africa. It's still very, very low. You cannot do processing with your phones. Yes, you are mobile. Africa is mobile connected, but you cannot do data processing using your mobile. You can access different types of AI data like ChatGPT, but the core functions of AI, we need you to have interconnected internet, which is an issue in Africa, and secondly, power. You cannot be processing, you cannot be using laptops or computers without any power. So that is the actual reason why Africa is being left out in terms of AI. Um, More and more often, you're gonna be seeing me doing this type of content. Kindly subscribe uh, so that I can be able to do this more of content. For guys who know me from my real estate background, this is still important. And if it's not, that's okay. I understand. But we agreed as a company we need to pivot. Even if it's in real estate, we need to pivot in terms of artificial intelligence. That's where the African future is. And personally, for me, Gideon, is to make sure that everyone, I inform you from the basics to probably some stuff that is more complicated, but try to just break it down for you in a way, in a manner that you can actually digest. My name is Gideon. You can watch that. There's another video that is gonna be somewhere here. I had done on why realtors might actually be out of a job because of what ChatGPT can do. Gideon, see you next time. Good time. Thank you.